Last week on the Bitcoin Tarot podcast, Cosmic Conroy's Tarot predicted that a juice will continue all week. Chad and his chart seemed to agree, saying we'd stay constrained between 6,400 and the 50-day moving average. Then the price of Bitcoin immediately dived by more than 5%, paused for half the week and was pushed back up by a run on Tether, ending the week about even. Both contestants get a grade D. Their GPAs are now 2.2 and 2.8, both falling back. But what will happen next week? How come we had such price drama and still ended at even? What on earth is going on? First up to read the cards, it's Cosmic Conroy.
You are very welcome. You know, last week felt more like tit for tat than it felt like truce. But we'll see what the cards say. Perhaps they'll mention Tether. We'll do our usual 4-card reading with cards representing the past, the current moment, the future, and then a reason for that timeline. So beginning with our first card, this one represents the last 7 days. And it is the Two of Swords. Peace. Last week's future card said truce. This week's past card says peace. It represents more of a balance than perhaps truce does. Opposing forces resulting in a peace. A bear movement matched by an equal and opposite bull movement. That does describe the last week quite well. So let's see what the next card is. This one represents the current moment in Bitcoin. And that's the Ace of Wands. A birth of new ideas and creation and inspiration, new beginnings, new projects. This all sounds as though things are going to change. But what will they change to? Let's see with our future card. This one represents the next 7 days and it is the 14th trump card, art. In particular, the art of alchemy, a synergy and balance, creating more than the base metal itself. That sounds quite bullish, but what's the reason for this? Let's find out with our last card. This gives us the reason for the timeline. And that card is the Three of Swords. Sorrow? Seems a strangely negative card to explain such a positive seeming timeline. A tricky reading. Oh, unless. I think the meaning of the reading has become clear. There was a balance, a peace between bulls and bears, but sorrow over and worry, perhaps over Tether or something else, have caused a new market in which new ideas are springing forth, and they'll bring not stagnation, but they will bring art, the art and alchemy of making money from base bits, I suppose. So all in all, I think that the balance of the market has changed towards alchemy. That's it from me for this week. Until next week, may the Bitcoin bless you.
And now, representing the technical analysis crew, it's Charting Chad!
I said we'd move fast once we got out of that channel, and then we did, right down. But then Tether's loss is Bitcoin's gain, I guess. Here we go with this week's charts. First, on the weekly candles here, we can see that moving averages, they're bunching up as the price levels out, which is a good sign. They may eventually swap from being in their maximum bearish configuration, but they remain maximum bearish configuration for now. Adding in some markup, this week I've put in the top of the old 2016 channel. In truth, that channel goes all the way back to 2012, really, with a few bumps here and there above and below it. But we can see that we're very close now to re-entering that old channel, which is good news. Good news, that's a good channel, doubling every year. But the main feature is still this descending triangle, which we are still right in the middle of. The interesting thing, though, is that we can stay in the triangle and still return to that old channel. So we could still be in the triangle when we return to the old 2016 channel, which I've been predicting since the start of my appearances here. Looking more closely at the daily candles, we can see that we are very close indeed to that channel now. It could be a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we could be back inside it. Adding in some markup, we can see that there's a lot of resistance as well as a lot of support there. We've got all of those moving averages above us. We've got that top of that channel that we've been in. We've got the top of the triangle. But then below us, we've got the bottom of the triangle. We've got the bottom of the month-long channel. And we've got that top of the old 2016 trend. So that's all likely to lead to the price staying mostly flat. Looking at the hourly candles, we can see that other than that drama this week with the Tether explosion and with the prior drop to that, the price has been basically flat for weeks and weeks. And there's no reason why it can't continue to be flat for weeks and weeks. But when it stops being flat, it will shoot up or down, probably down, quite quickly. So all in all, I'd say we like to stay flat for a bit, but when we do change, it will go rapidly, which means you should keep your stop losses tight until I see you next week.
The Bitcoin Tarot podcast needs your support to fund a longer format show. If you want more detail and perhaps some altcoins to be examined, send donations to any of these 4 addresses. Whichever coins have the most money when we hit the target will get a special side reading from both Chad and from Conroy. Remember, if you can't donate, you can always like and upvote and share our links to while away the hours until we once again ask the question: can the tarot beat technical analysis in next week's Bitcoin Tarot podcast?